I remember feeling that way really when we were filming the pilot, the first episode, and I had a scene. Well, most of my scenes were with Christina, and she was so real and grounded. I remember being like, okay, got to stand a little taller, like really got to show up. But I felt that way with everyone. I really did.
This show is so good. I watched it in a day, and my only complaint is I need season 2 now.
I'm so glad
Love
you
that
liked
for
it.
us. Yes.
Melissa, my first question is for you. What were you excited to explore with the character Sadie that stands out from other characters you've played before? And what attracted you as a producer to this project?
I was so attracted to Sadie's tenacity and how passionate she is for what she does, and how she's a journalist with a capital J. And that is very, she's the second reporter I've played, but it was very different from Supergirl, because Supergirl, we didn't really get to focus on what it actually means to be a reporter and what that feels like and what the lifestyle is. So I was really drawn to that. I love how spunky Sadie is. I love how she's just super tenacious and albeit really neurotic. But I also find that charming about her too. I was really charmed by her. And I think maybe because it's a lot of Amy Chozik's voice, and Amy has a great voice as a writer. So I was very attracted to that.
And Natasha, Lola is such an interesting character because she's survived like really, really hard tragedy and is trying to move forward and make a change with the world without that overshadowing everything. How did you want to infuse the trauma into your performance without allowing it to overtake the character?
I give a lot of credit to the writing. I think they did a really beautiful job with the way they wrote the character, but what I loved about Lola is the way that she would snap. Like I think episode 4, there's a funeral scene and she apologizes later. She was like, I'm sorry that I was so bitchy during that. I get really triggered at funerals. I've been to so many of them. And so to me, it was really cool to just layer that into the character. So she's so snappy, like she's very like whatever, kind of like off the cuff. But a lot of that is she's triggered and is a trauma response of like, my walls are going up, because she's been through so much. And it was a very cool way to color her as a character.
Melissa, I love that Sadie's skills as a journalist are never questioned. She's clearly a great journalist from the start. Can you talk about why she's so kind of enraptured with the old school journalist legends and why it's important for her to bring her voice into her stories?
She romanticizes this somewhat bygone era because I think she romanticizes history and she wants to be a part of telling it, and she wants to do it with integrity. And the irony is now that she's joining the industry when everyone says it's dying, and the second it's not a boys club, the industry is dead, quote unquote. But I think that these 4 women are showing that there is still a drive and a passion to tell the truth, and that is her driving force.
And Natasha, how does Lola's understanding of the world of journalism change, not only by being on the bus, but specifically from her friendship with Sadie, Grace, and Kimberlyn?
I think she learns so much. She learns everything from these women. She doesn't know anything about being on the trail. And so they essentially teach her everything. Episode 3, we have the pool moment. Like she's just taking things for what they are and then being like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that. And I think she has such great conviction in telling the truth in an authentic way to a younger audience, to a queer audience, to people of color. Like that's kind of, she's like, I'm just here for those people who historically have maybe been denied a seat at the table when it comes to politics. But what she does learn is they're so smart, these women. And like towards the end of the season, I think like they are influencing her to be like, use your connections. Like you don't, because she's all upset that she's like not in and doesn't have these connections. And they're like, well, this is what you do as a reporter, as a journalist. How can you get to the thing you need by using what you have? So they teach her. She does a lot of growing up, I think, in this season, and they're pivotal. All 3 of the women are pivotal in teaching her.
And then this question's for both of you. The cast is phenomenal across the board. Is there a specific moment you remember with another cast member where they really knocked out of the park as a scene partner and helped elevate your own performance, starting with Melissa?
I have moments like that with everyone.
I got chills.
Yeah, I had moments like that with you, with Carla, with Christina, with Brandon, with Griffin. But a specific moment, I think, where Brandon would consistently throw me. He's really good at improvising, and his improvisations are not to be funny. They're just incredibly informed of who his character is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he would bust things out that I was like, where did you come up with that? And I was so impressed, but I legitimately had moments like that with everyone.
I did too. I got chills when you asked that because I was like, yeah, every single person. I was like, whoa, as I'm acting with them. I remember feeling that way really when we were filming the pilot, the first episode, and I had a scene. Well, most of my scenes were with Christina, and she was so real and grounded. I remember being like, okay, got to stand a little taller, like really got to show up. But I felt that way with everyone. I really did.
And then one of my favorite parts of the show is that it deals with things like reproductive rights in the way of it has the political debate between your characters, but then it shows how it actually impacts people. So why do you think it was important to show both sides of politics with the conversation, but then the actual action?
Because I think that the actual action is not
the issue.
Yeah, and people don't. Sometimes the conversation is so loud that we don't think about the actual people going through the action. And what I'm so proud of that we were able to do on the show in telling the story about reproductive rights and Sadie's abortion is that we're showing a very realistic situation of a woman who knows what is right for herself and has made the choice for herself without any shame. And that is not the agony. The agony is that she literally can't find a straightforward path to treatment.
The lack of access.
Yeah. And she's going through states that now all have different laws. And that is crying shame, you know, and we had our showrunner, Rena Mamoon, did so well in bringing that story to the page. And we had Kara Sedgwick, who is a massive supporter of women's rights. And she is such an advocate. And she was so passionate and really excited to tell the story. So I'm proud of what we were able to do.
My editor is going to have my neck if I don't ask you this question, Melissa. We have a new Supergirl coming to the big screen. What are you excited to see with this new iteration of the character?
I think any and all takes on the character are valuable because what she stands for, Supergirl as an entity, is she's iconic for a reason and has been since the 50s. And I personally think that every iteration of her is valuable for young women to see. And hopefully, like, every take on her someone will see themselves in it.
And then Natasha, is there one of the cast members that you maybe didn't get to share screens with enough this season that you wish you'd been able to share more scenes with?
Everyone. This cast is amazing. I mean, every time the four of us are together, it's perfect. And I want to do that for the rest of my life. Me and Adam Kaplan became besties. He plays Gary in the show. And we had a lot of time being silly. And I think we always wanted to be able to have more scenes together, but we never had any together. Same with Cole Escola. I feel like me and Cole really hit it off. I really love them. I think they're hilarious. And we never had any scenes together, but we had a lot of fun when the cameras weren't rolling.
I could talk to you guys about this show all day. Every episode is phenomenal. I can't wait for more people to see it. I need 12 seasons of this.
Aww.
That's so sweet.